Hey guys, Insomnia here with some more AFK Arena. Today we are back on the Mauler account and we are going to be going over the top 5 Maulers. So since we've started this account several months ago, we have been really focused on the Maulers, focusing on the Mauler furniture. We know our tier list, we know our furniture list, we know our signature item list, but overall the progression we've made is almost at chapter 30 at this point. So looking at the Maulers, we are just going to run down the top 5. The big reason for this is most people ask, what are the Maulers? The Mauler Tower itself is very, very difficult in the King's Tower. Very difficult to pass a lot of stages in there. So what are the top 5 Maulers that you should be running with? Well, at number 5 definitely comes in Namusu. Big thing with Namusu is he is a very, very big distraction with the totems that he has. The signature item, which is very imperative to his success. At the beginning of battle, he sets down an offensive totem. Plus 10 gives you a rejuvenating totem, meaning that in the beginning of battle, he drops 2 totems. Plus 30 gives those totems 100% increased health. Meaning that to really have him perform very, very well, he does have to have the plus 30 signature item to go ahead and heal the totems. Coupled with that, when you look at his furniture ability, 3-piece Voodoo Blessing, which is his ultimate, heals up to 2 summoned totems. So this gives him the ability to keep his totems alive because remember, they already have 100% bonus health. This will keep the totems alive as well. As you can see there, the 9-piece Voodoo Blessing heals the weakest one unhealed ally as well, up to 4 totems. So having his 3 set is good. Having his 9 set, so having 9 and 9 furniture, will keep the totems alive for pretty much the entire battle, which is a huge distraction. Also, looking at his skills, has some very, very powerful skills. Of course, the ultimate ability, this used to be a skill that consisted of damage. Now it is a heal. So very, very powerful, again, with a heal instead of a damage, since he is a support class. Of course, you do have his totems, rejuvenating totem. It heals over time, which is good. You have the offensive totem, which is very, very tough, especially if you do have a signature item. But this is really the big one that focuses on his support class. Namusu buffs the ally with the highest attack power, granting them 40 haste and 20% normal attack speed for 10 seconds. So not only does it buff the haste, it buffs the attack speed. Level 2 haste increased to 50, normal attack speed by 30, and then level 3 effects are increased to 12 seconds, which increases his damage output with whoever he is buffing very, very high. Because of this ability. This ability a lot of players overlook, which makes him a perfect support class, not only being in the support tree, the substance tree, having all the ability there. He is very, very strong when it comes to, now he has a heal, now he has a healing totem, now he has a buff for haste and the normal attack speed. Plus he has an offensive totem that is very, very distracting to the enemy that you're facing, making Namusu come in at number 5 for the formation. Number 4, I put Skreg. Reason for Skreg is, of course, signature item. You do have to have that built as well because of the plus 30 ability. During a sandstorm, all enemies are dealt 2% of their current health value per second as damage, ignoring all enemy defensive rating, which is okay. He does a little bit of damage with the plus 30 ability, but over a couple seconds, 2% each time is very, very powerful. The big thing that you want to have with Skreg, of course, is his furniture, the Desert Trap. At the beginning of battles, enemies positioned at the top and bottom position of the enemy's formation, so looking at the 3 and 5 formation positions, are pulled closer towards the center backline enemy by a Desert Vortex. So essentially, you're taking all 5 of your heroes, condensing them into a nice little line, which is good, which we'll look at with heroes in just a moment. But he has the ability to condense the heroes together. 9 set, when sandstorm weather condition occurs, allies that have the wind beneath them have their movement speed increased. Enemies fighting against them have their movement speed decreased. Not very powerful. 3 of 3 is good enough for him. I would not go 9 of 9 on him. There's a couple other heroes on the Mauler faction that have a higher priority than him, but I would definitely put him at slot 4. His skills overall, the Desert Vortex is the one that you want that provides crowd control for heroes because they are trapped, or excuse me, the enemies, they are trapped. Death from Above, his overall damage is pretty low, but you want him for the crowd control aspect. Sandstorm is the one that goes in effect with the 2% hit point reduction. So the damage, and as you can see, duration is extended up to 15 seconds. So you get 15 seconds at the 2% reduction per second when the vortex is up. Very, very powerful. And of course, critical insight raises allies' critical rating by 0.5 per second until a maximum of 20 points are reached. The critical rating is not very big overall because critical rating raises critical rating by 0.8 per second. The critical rating itself does not provide that much of additional damage. Haste is far, far more important than the critical rating, which Namusu has the haste. Skreg has the critical rating. But because of his crowd control abilities, I would definitely place him on the 4th list for the top 5 Maulers. Number 3, of course, we do have Titus. I regret not building Titus early. Titus is an absolute monster when it comes to damage, and he is one of the very, very few heroes in the Mauler faction that provide the crowd control ability. So looking here at the signature item, we have always had a problem with the survivability of agility heroes, which if you look at a lot of the newer agility heroes, they have went ahead and Lilith has noticed that, and Lilith has reduced damage, reduced 70% of all damage received when using savagery. Now it's all damage. Most of the time with dodge, if they dodge, they take no damage. Magic always hits. You cannot dodge magical attacks. But as you see here, reduces 70% of all damage received, which again addresses his survivability. Plus 30, Titus is impervious to all enemy control abilities for the first 6 seconds after savagery is used. Crowd control is what wins this game. Crowd control is what wins campaign stages. It wins PvP. If you are immune to crowd control, it makes a huge, huge difference. Couple that with the inn. This is the other good thing, is the Lust for Blood. His furniture is very, very good. Titus receives healing to increase by 70 or 25. Tenacity is increased by 17, and attack rating is increased by 8% for every non-summoned enemy that has been defeated or which currently has less than 50% of their max health. So that makes him kind of a finishing hero, which will go ahead and look at his ultimate ability. So he can buff his own, not only the tenacity, but the attack rating for every non-summoned enemy that has been defeated. And as you can see, the 9-piece, if Titus kills an enemy or is close to killing to an enemy that is killed, he will recover 35% of the health which has been lost, which plays right back to the damage mitigation and dealing with the survivability that we have with a lot of these heroes. If the hero does not survive, they don't deal any damage. Titus does a lot of damage in a very, very short amount of time. As you can see, a Twisted Fate spirals into a whirlwind that engulfs the battlefield, dealing 160%, level 3, 220%. Damage to all enemies that he passes. Final pounce on the weakest enemy target for 220. Again, being a finishing hero. So he is going to target the weakest enemy to go ahead and finish them. If you have the signature item, more powerful. If you have the furniture, very, very powerful. Remember, his abilities are tied to his savagery ability, which is actually right. This one, savagery, is his passive. Titus viciously and persistently attacks an enemy whose health is lower than 50% of its maximum until they are slain. So similar like we've seen with Lucreta, he is going to stick with a hero until they are dead. While using this ability, the attack rating of Titus, normal attack is increased by 35%. So he's getting a big, big buff there. And if he does have his furniture, it is bringing his attack rating even higher. Life leech level is raised by 40 while pursuing a weakened enemy, again dealing with his survivability. And then of course level 3 attack rating is increased up to 50%, which is further pushed by the furniture bonus that he can have. Frenzied Strikes. Titus slices the enemy standing in front of him in a vicious 5-stage attack, which is similar to Yukio, seeing some of the hero skills and abilities kind of going between, dealing 60% damage per attack. Due to the blood loss, the enemy target suffers 65% damage per second over 8 seconds. So he does a bleed on them with blood loss. As you can see, your blood loss lasts for 12 seconds. When moving, a damage of each attack is raised by 80%. Which brings us to Battle Howl, one of the very few Maulers that possess a crowd control ability, which is very powerful. Titus lets out a ferocious howl that terrifies his enemies, causing them to flee from his vicinity for 5 seconds. Remember, 5 seconds is a long time to have a Terrify when it comes to the campaign stages. 5 seconds is a long time. Most of the stuns we see are 2, some 3, some 4, but 5 seconds of fear. After howling, Titus' movement speed is increased by 35%. Attack rating, again, is increased by 20% for 10 seconds. Level 2, 30% increase in attack rating. And 3 nearby allies also receive a movement, speed, and attack rating increase. So looking at his abilities, he actually pushes heroes right to the back line through the Battle Howl. So he will fear multiple enemies that are stacked up, which works in perfect synergy with Skreg, bringing them together. And of course, that brings us to our number 2 hero, which is of course Skreg. Skreg was unanimous fodder long ago. Everybody used Skreg for fodder until they did a rework, and this is the reason we say do not use Ascended heroes as fodder. Once they did a rework, Skreg absolutely dominated everything, which was crazy strong to see. Overall with Skreg, a couple of abilities. Signature item, the Beast of Burden no longer drains energy for the first 5 seconds. As you can see, the plus 10 only requires 500 energy the first time, meaning that he uses his ability very early, especially if you look at the plus 30, which I definitely recommend doing a plus 30. Only requires 200 energy to activate the ultimate for the first time. So essentially, Skreg comes onto the battlefield, he gets hit, he'll go ahead and ult, he will push heroes to the back. He does not get pushed back. He is a hero that stands his ground, but he will push enemies actually back to the enemy side, which makes a big difference when you couple it with his furniture. All allied heroes within the enemy half of the battlefield, which is exactly where he goes from the beginning, will have their attack rating increased by 20% and also receive 25% less damage from enemy attacks, which is powerful. Couple that with him going on the enemy half of the battlefield with Titus going on the enemy half of the battlefield. So Titus will receive a 20% attack rating boost. Titus will also receive 25% less damage from enemy attacks, meaning that, again, addressing the issue of the agility, survivability with Titus's life leech ability, with his attack, very good synergy again, especially having all of the heroes grouped up with Skreg will make it very powerful. As you can see, his 9-piece, absolutely build his 9-piece. Allied heroes recover 100% energy points after 3 seconds, or every 3 seconds in the enemy half of the battlefield, giving him a ton more energy, giving Titus a ton more energy. Anybody who is on the enemy half of the battlefield will get a crazy amount of energy, which we have seen him actually outshine some of the god tier comps. People have used him in very unique ways since he has his 9-piece furniture. He is just very strong. So looking at his skills and abilities real quick, one of the big one, of course, brute force. It does stun the hero, it knocks them back again, making enemies go on the enemy side, staying on the enemy side of the battlefield. Doesn't do the most damage, but that's not what he is there for. Of course, Iron Skin, damage reduction is increased to up to 60%. So similar to Arthur, they deal 60% less damage when they are face to face. Enemies deal less damage to Skreg the closer they get. So if he is face to face with a hero, they are doing 60% less damage to Skreg, allowing him to live and continue to push heroes onto the enemy side to not only get higher attack rating, but also the damage reduction that they bring. Stampede, every 8 seconds an Ironjaw appears, charges towards the enemy, knocking them back. Again, Skreg is built around staying on the enemy side of the battlefield, which is perfect because that pairs ultimately with Namusu's totems. If the totems are in the back, the enemies stay in the backside. When Skreg is in the back, again, with his furniture bonuses, is going to make him almost indestructible because of enemies that are closer to him. With Rath stacking up the enemies, again, the synergy is absolutely perfect. Ultimate ability, Beast of Burden, which he casts this almost the second he comes onto the battlefield. Ironjaw cannot be knocked backwards. Again, going back to the enemy side. When he uses this ability, Skreg rides his Ironjaw, which uses 80 energy per second until it is exhausted. While Skreg is riding, he is immune to crowd control, and his attack rating is increased by 30%. Skreg's normal attacks will also deal damage twice, and knock down enemy targets. So again, providing a crowd control aspect there, but ultimately just moving the enemy heroes to the enemy back line and keeping them there absolutely locked down. Deals just again, perfect synergy with Rath, bringing everyone together. Titus providing the fear to keep them on the enemy side. Skreg providing more of the push ability to keep them on the enemy side, which brings us to our number one, of course, Sofia, Daughter of the Desert. Sofia has a ability, her signature item adds 1% total damage output to her attack rating, 2% at plus 10, 3% at plus 20, plus 30, I feel is really where she shines. Sofia will use Scatterbolt instead of normal attacks once the maximum attack rating has reached its maximum percentage, which means her attack rating has maxed out at 140%, higher than it normally was, meaning that she does crazy, crazy high damage. Looking at her furniture, 3-set furniture for her is good enough. Duration of Spectral Disruption is increased by 15 seconds. Meaning that you get an additional 15 seconds to go ahead and do more damage, which we'll look at her skills in a minute. All of her skills are very powerful, but as you can see, the 9-piece, the focusing stage of the ultimate, Falling Sun, is sped up by 40% while Spectral Disruption is present. So as long as you have it up, when she ults and when she starts casting her ult, Falling Sun, it is going to cast faster, which is very, very imperative, because looking at the ability, hashtag Falling Sun gets it done. You've heard it here before. Falling Sun ability has a orb that actually just boosts up power. The longer that she focuses, the more damage it does. Maximum orb damage raised to 660%. So when it is fully maxed out, a majority of the time, if Falling Sun is charged, if Falling Sun goes off, you will kill the target that it hits. Most of the time, because it is an AoE, it does have a radius. You will take out entire teams of heroes with this ultimate ability if you can get her to cast it. Other ability, of course, Scatterbolt. One of my favorites, fires a magical projectile at the enemy target that deals 170% damage and stuns them. So the Scatterbolt does have a stun built in. After impacting, the projectile split into 2 smaller. As you can see, the +3 goes into 3 smaller orbs. So it actually breaks, hits other targets. For less damage, the initial target takes the blunt of the damage, which brings us to Static Field. Sofia provides the most forward position ally with an electrical aura that lasts 10 seconds. In the case of this team and the team comp that I run, that is going to be Skreg, or that is going to be Titus. They are going to be the 2 heroes that are going to be in the most forward position, or by chance it could be Namusu's totems. depending who it is. Most of the time it is Skreg, and most of the time static field goes up on Skreg, which is good because he's very, very difficult to kill. And it does a damage over time effect to heroes that are around them within the radius. So he actually runs over heroes that are nice and tight in a group from Skreg's furniture bonus, which brings us to the final Spectral Disruption. As you can see, this lasts for 25 seconds with an added 15 seconds. So you do get 40 seconds of Spectral Disruption. All allies within the circle have their attack rating increased by 16%. As you can see, their level 3 is 24%. So 24% bonus to all of the heroes in the Spectral Disruption, which is absolutely crazy amount of bonus damage. If any enemy stands within there, their attack rating is reduced by 50% and their haste, meaning that if the enemy heroes are coming to the allied side, with Spectral Disruption still being up for 40 seconds of the battle, they will have their attack ratings reduced, as well as haste, which again is very, very powerful indeed, which is why she is my absolute number one choice. Very, very powerful. So looking at here, once I have Titus built, honorable mentions really go out to Verk. Verk does a lot of damage, but the combination in the synergy that I see between Namusu, Rath, and Sofia, and of course Skreg and Titus out front, makes them my top 5 Mauler choices. K-Sauce, kind of disappointed with. Inoki, overall I have him completely built, as you've seen here. Dies very, very easy, even with completely maxed out, even with Skreg pushing him. Inoki does have a tendency to die really early. K-Sauce dies really early. Warwick, we built him, geared him up. Again, dies very, very early in the formation. So that is my personal preference from running the faction accounts that I have found that has worked out perfectly. A little bit more food. Titus will be up to Ascended, and we will continue to build him. Drez, I do not have built. We just got him on the pay-to-win account. Haven't had a chance to test him or try him not, but those are my choices for the top 5 Maulers from running the Mauler account that I absolutely love. It seems like stage after stage and chapter after chapter, it is the synergy of those 5 heroes that really make the Mauler team really, really shine. I know Sofia and Skreg are used on a lot of different teams, so I would definitely build my choice 1 Sofia, choice 2 Skreg. Titus, if you got to run another Mauler hero, if you're running a Mauler team, if you're doing the Mauler tower, Titus, Skreg, and Namusu are definitely the choices for the top 5. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Those are the top 5 Maulers that I have chosen, especially from running all of the Maulers. Still need Cetrena and Entendre. Very difficult heroes. I have them built in, again, survivability. They die relatively easy. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.